Welcome to the Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show, where we make plant-based cooking easy. I'm Jill, and today we are making buckwheat cinnamon raisin bread.
Grab a plate, 'cause it's the all-free whole food plant-based cooking show.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Wellbean. Beans are an essential part of a whole food plant-based diet and should feature prominently in our daily menu. We love finding new and convenient ways to get our servings in. Wellbean is a tasty and wholesome way to get half a serving of beans in every bar. Wellbean bars are vegan and gluten-free, with no preservatives and no added salt, sugar, or oil. Each bar is made only from an assortment of beans, fruits, nuts, and seeds. As a special deal for our viewers, follow the link in the description and use the code TRYWELLBEAN5 to save $5 off a variety pack on your first order, because life is better with beans.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today we are making bread again, but today we're making buckwheat cinnamon raisin bread. Yum! So I grew up eating my mom's homemade cinnamon raisin bread, which was so delicious, and I've just been missing it so much lately. This recipe Jeff actually came up with, so he's becoming quite the good chef in this kitchen. This is our original buckwheat bread recipe, so if you haven't checked that one out, I would definitely check that out first, with the cinnamon raisin element added, and I'll show you that in a minute. But if you want a printable recipe of this recipe, it'll be in the details below. Okay, so we're going to start out with buckwheat flour. This is 2 cups of buckwheat flour. And if you're new to the show, buckwheat is not wheat, even though it has wheat in the name. It is a grain, but it's not wheat. So those of you out there that are gluten-free, this is great for you. Then we have 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And we're just going to gently mix that together. That is our rising agent, because this is not a yeast bread. This is just, it's more like a quick bread. Okay, and we have our oven already preheated to 350 degrees. Okay, so now we are going to blend some of the liquid part of this. We're using 1/4 cup of raisins. So that's going to add your whole food sweetness without using refined sugars. And then this is 2 cups of unsweetened soy milk, but you can use whatever plant milk you like. I would just focus on the unsweetened part, because you don't want to use those refined sugars. We're just going to use some good wholesome whole grain or whole food to sweeten our bread. Now I just put about 1 cup of that in there because it struggles a little bit if you put all of that liquid in to blend up all of those raisins. Okay, so we're just going to blend this until those raisins are pulverized. Okay, there we go. And you can see there's still little specks of raisin in there, but that is perfectly okay. That took probably about 30 seconds in the blender. So now we're going to add the rest of our ingredients to the flour, the rest of our milk, and then I have 1 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and that is going to actually help assist the baking soda and the baking powder to help it rise. And then 1 teaspoon of Bragg's liquid aminos. But if you're not salt-free, you can use a little bit of salt. That would be fine too. All right, so now we're just stirring this up. Buckwheat is such an interesting flour to use. You'll see as I stir, it just starts to thicken. It's really an amazing, amazing grain. It's great for making pancakes or waffles or bread. Okay, now that that's pretty well mixed, we're going to add our raisins. Now these are the whole raisins that are going to be in every little bite. This is another 1/4 cup. We're just going to fold it in. And I didn't put them in first because I don't want them to sink to the bottom. Okay, so now I have just a standard bread pan. This is a silicone baking pan. regular, I think it's something like 9 or 9.5 by 4. So we're going to pour this in here. I'm gonna get my spatula. It's kind of a running joke here on the show. I never have my spatula when I need it, but here it is. I have one. So I can get all the rest of that out of there. Won't waste any of it. Okay. Now we're gonna set this aside for just a second, and I'm gonna get my other ingredients to show you the cinnamon date swirl stuff that we're going to put on it.
Today's show is brought to you in part by Complement. As healthy as it is, did you know there are a handful of missing or hard to get nutrients from a plant-based diet? The latest research suggests that complementing your diet with a few specific vitamins, minerals, and omega-3s will help boost your energy and keep you thriving for the long term. That's why I take Complement Plus every day. Complement Plus contains the 8 critical nutrients in dosages optimized specifically for plant-based eaters. Plus, they're completely transparent about ingredient sourcing and third-party testing, publishing the results directly on their website. As a special discount for our viewers, just use the code WFPB15 at checkout to save 15% off of your order.
All right, we're back with the ingredients. So I have 3 teaspoons of cinnamon. I have a teaspoon of vanilla, a 1/2 cup of deglette dates, and a 1/2 cup of water. So we're just going to put those in our little blender cup again. And this is going to make that delicious, sweet little, I don't know what you want to call that, the swirl in the bread. Okay, you see I still have I didn't even rinse it. It's okay, it's all the same ingredients going in the same place. So it will be fine. Now we're just gonna mix this until it's a really nice creamy paste. Okay. Ooh, there we go. All right, oh, that smells so good. Whoops, I'm gonna need another spatula. All right, so now this stuff, we're just going to pour down the center, and instead of it being a swirl, boy, we tried and tried to make that swirl in there. It just doesn't work, because normally I think to get that swirl, it's like a rolled bread. But this one, we're just going to I'm going to make 2 lines across the top. And then we're going to do it kind of like a marble cake. How you swirl it in. And this is up to you if you want to use the whole amount. If you don't, this is good. You can keep it in the fridge for a little spread on your toast in the mornings. Oh, that would be delicious. That's if you don't like as much of the cinnamon flavor. But we like all of it. We like all of that flavor because there's a lot of cinnamon. Okay. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to use a chopstick. You can use a fork or just a butter knife. And I'm just going to go in here just like a marble cake. You know how you kind of swirl it back and forth? You might have to do this a couple times just to get it to go down into the bread a little bit more. Maybe I'll go the long way. Ooh, there we go. Okay. Oops. All right, so now we're going to stick that into the oven. I'm going to put the timer on for 45 minutes and then we'll check it. While we're waiting for that, I'd like to share with you some background on our show. The Whole Food Plant-Based Cooking Show is crowd-funded, which means these free weekly recipe videos, along with our entire catalog of recipes on our website, plantbasedcookingshow.com, and our new Plant-Based Cooking Made Easy cookbook are all made possible in part by the generous patronage of our supporting members. By becoming a supporting member, you gain access to great member perks like monthly product giveaways, free downloads of our ebooks, and access to our in-depth courses, including our 28 Days Plant-Based Made Easy course, where we offer a step-by-step guide to making the switch to a fully plant-based diet. We create this show for the hundreds of thousands of viewers just like you who tune in each month from all over the world to make it easy for everyone to live a plant-based lifestyle. So if you love our content, please join us on our mission and become a supporting member today by following the link in the description. Okay, let's get back to the show. Our bread is done. Oh, cinnamon, cinnamon, cinnamon. Come on in and take a look at this guy. That is beautiful. Oh, I can't wait to dig in. So I'm going to pop this out of the, I'm going to let it sit in here for about 5 minutes before I try to pop it out of there. I just don't want it to fall apart or anything. And then I'm going to let it cool, and then I'll meet you at the table for a taste. Okay, are you ready for a taste? I'm ready for a taste. So it's still kind of warm. Oh my gosh. This part's always just nerve-wracking, right? I want to make sure that it worked. We have had so many of these breads lately. Oh my goodness. So I know it tastes amazing. Oh, look at that. I just can't believe how pretty, look at that. That is just gorgeous. This is something that would be perfect for just like a brunch if you want to show off for your neighbors or something. Have it with a little coffee or tea. Oof. Now you can see the little raisins in there. And this bread, if you've had my buckwheat bread, you know it's kind of spongy. It's more like a, it's a quick bread, so it's more like a cakey kind of bread. But here, let's go for the taste. Make sure I get that cinnamon in there. Mmm. Cinnamon. Mm. So good. And this bread is even better when you toast it. Put a little peanut butter or something like that on there. Mmm. Mmm. So be sure to give this a thumbs up, guys, and I'll see you next week for another great recipe.